right? And of course, I can easily go on my AI, tell my AI to generate so and so information that I've actually imputed in it for a while, and then it gives me, or of course, I just put a prompt because I've been trained to actually, to actually get a hang of that. But there are a whole of people, again, this is not just for to show some level of professional, standpoint, all right? It's for us to actually be able to get the, okay, let me just ask this question. Who amongst us does not use AI? Is there anybody in the room that does not use AI? No, just answer. Is not, is there anybody here that does not use AI? Please, I need the feedback.
Praise the Lord. I think we're making progress.
All right. So I've been able to actually train my AI, the AI I use to that point, generative engine optimization, GEO. All right. So my next question to you would then be, I know we have the predictive AI, we have the generative AI.
Yeah.
And of course, we've been speaking about the LLM for some time now, which maybe some of us here in the room may not actually understand.
Yeah.
Right. So from a, I'm trying to actually ensure that I'm bringing your expertise in this, not just about speaking some professional jargons, right? But of course, trying to actually, dissect it, dimension it in a way that,
Yeah.
the creative can actually
I feel
employ.
you.
Now, generative, predictive, the LLM, how can the ordinary creative person, understanding these concepts, be able to actually put it in their works and become better?
Okay. A curious thing. Does anybody here who uses ChatGPT? Keep your hands up if you use ChatGPT daily. Daily. That's interesting. So I'm the only one that uses it daily here, man. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm going to ask about the other models. Anybody here uses Gemini? Gemini daily. Did you say Siri? Or more? Yeah, okay. So, how many people here that use ChatGPT have used projects on ChatGPT? If you use projects on ChatGPT, but if you use ChatGPT, raise your hand. So, okay, but you don't use projects. Use Gemini. Do you use Gems? If you use Gems, keep your hand up. Gems. Okay. So here's a very, very specific thing that we're going to do over the next 5 to 10 minutes. Is that okay? Okay. What do you do for a living? Performing artist. Okay. Who are your faves? Yeah, I'm just curious about your faves. I'm just trying to make small talk. Like your Godwins. Okay. I'm Gen Z, so I speak Gen Z. Right. I can't believe I just did that here. Who are your favorite like performing artists? Mm-hmm. Faves. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Did you say you use ChatGPT or Gemini? ChatGPT. Do you use projects on ChatGPT? What do you do for a living? About?
Sometimes I write stories
Okay.
for people abroad.
Okay. Oh yeah, the Dollar FC. I love it for you. Um, there are a couple of things I think we can try with projects for what you use, but I'll go with the clearer one in the context of like say ChatGPT, which is writing. So if I were you, here's how I'd use ChatGPT. I'd create a project, um, and I'd call it writing assistant, for example, right? Now, when you create a project, it's basically it basically gives you a couple of options. Of course, you can name it, but the most important things are two features: the knowledge base, that's you feed it with its own specific knowledge and context. So if I were you now, for example, the people I write articles for, I probably have a style guide that I base my writing on, like a structure, a template, a system, how I spell, how I structure my paragraphs. I'll build a style guide, right? Then I'd upload it, like, say, as a PDF to that brain, right? Then I'd open instructions and say, you are my writing assistant. I'd give it very, very specific context. Now, one of the things that I do when I use LLMs is that, especially with productivity, I basically engage like they are human beings. And so the way I give it instructions is like I'm giving instructions to my actual colleague. So I'm like, and it's very, very simple. The moment that switch happens where you see the model as a collaborator, the quality of, you stop thinking in the context of prompts and start thinking in the context of like context, right? And so it's like, you are my writing assistant, you're my writing partner, you use the global standards of the best editors in the world, you are not agreeable, because everybody says ChatGPT any smart will be like, oh wow. Like, my own LLM doesn't tell me cute stuff, right? I tell my LLM I'm tired and it's like, okay, so, like, not that simply, but that kind of vibe, right? And so I basically give it like this detailed guide. This is how we should write. This is how we go through the writing process. When I push back on something, you need to continue to push back. You are relentless. You are disagreeable. And then I leave all that instructions and I save it. And so when I get the next brief, I'll go into that writing assistant project and I just upload the brief and say, yo, new writing, Kini. And the first thing it does is dissect it. Oh, this is this is that, this is that. I also always tell my model that when I ask you to edit, when I give you a draft, I'm not asking you to rewrite. I'm asking you to edit, give me detailed notes. So me now, when I feed a draft into ChatGPT, there's a specific process. I have a personal 5-star framework I use in my life, right? Line by line edits and so on and so forth. My 3-star is just a neat draft. My 4-star is emotionally like resonant, right? And my 5-star is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing is that it has to present like a divergent insight that even I would not have thought about. And so it leaves me all of these detailed notes based on this every time I share a draft, right? But that's what using projects help you do. On Gemini, gems also help you do that. So you open a gem and you ask a gem. Like you see, once you open, if you have Gemini on your phone, or ChatGPT actually, you can open it. Check for projects, check for gems. And what it really just helps you do is give it a very, very specific personal context. One small experiment that I started recently is that for every article about numbers that has too many numbers that is published at TechAbout, it should have a small tool inside it, right? And so what we do with Gemini is that you finish your article, you publish, you carry the draft and you paste it inside your gem, and it basically sweeps the article and says, oh, the reader is going to have to deal with this dense paragraph with too many numbers. Here's a small tool you can do with HTML, and it just creates the HTML. I can't write code to save my life, but it writes the HTML code. I copy the code, I paste it inside WordPress, embed HTML, and you see a shiny calculator there. And a person will come and type and say, put a number and it calculates something, and they'll be like, wow, impressive. It's Gemini, right? And what now happens is that for different contexts,